Hi everyone, this is the second installment in my video series, this time about films because I want to split the channel into book reviews and film reviews and probably marketing trends that I'm currently observing, or maybe kind of play around with the topics and mix and match them as I see fit. We'll see. Thank you to everyone who's seen my first video and left thumbs ups and the subscription actually. I look forward to making this quite a weekly thing, I guess, if I'm able to, and kind of keep growing with this because I really enjoy doing it and do enjoy sharing the things that I'm currently listening to or saying or reading, and it's good I think for me for my confidence as well and just being able to talk to the camera, not only work related things but the things that I am very passionate about. Currently more so it's quite good for me to be able to update you on films and things that I'm currently a fan of. I thought about making this more interactive because obviously, before I'm able to edit the film or really get into making the channel grow, etc., etc., I'd like to be able to share things about films as well, not necessarily, breaking the copyright, etc., etc., and going and getting into trouble for that. So I thought just by showing book covers and being able to interact and talk about the translation bits as well, from English to Polish, Polish English, or other languages, if I'm able to translate the titles and anything connected to that, I thought that I'm gonna use leaflets for the films from the cinemas I attend, and it's gonna make it more interactive and be able to talk about as well production of films and marketing, which I think is very interesting because the leaflets are usually made by production companies based on what the producer thinks that the audience will like best and what will get them to attend cinema, and it's something that I've been very interested in actually since being a reviewer for films, and it's something that I really pay much attention to, especially in Poland, because a lot of the translated leaflets are different from the international ones because producers focus on different things for different audiences and different territories as well. So it's something that I'd like to look at as well, and I think it's going to be interesting for you. The film that I really wanted to talk about, I actually mentioned in the first video that it's a film that I think is one of the best films I've seen in 2018, and I'd really love everybody that I know to see it and share their opinions because it's a wonderful film. I've been a big fan of it. I was looking forward to seeing it ever since hearing about it. And the film is called Cold War. It's called Zimna Wojna in Polish, and it's a film that I actually heard about only around May and the Cannes Festival because it was a contender for the main competition, the main part of the competition called they're contending basically for the main prize of the Cannes Festival. So Palme d'Or, I believe. Palme d'Or, yeah. The thing is, it's called different thing in Polish entirely. It's called the Cannes poem. So basically, it's very hard. It's very hard for me to know how to pronounce. If you're able to tell me how it's pronounced properly in English, I'll be very grateful. So it's one of the films that I read actually that it's the first film in Polish history since 28 years or so that's been in the main competition for the main prize of it. So it got a lot of press in Poland, actually around the festival before the premiere, because the film festival took place around middle end of May, as far as I know, in Cannes, and the movie premiere itself in Poland was 8th of June. I actually saw it, I think, 2 weeks ago. As soon as I was able to, using my membership, and it's been wonderful. It's one of those films that I think are very 2018, and it's a film that I really wanted to see because it's a story of two people pictured here, played by Joanna Kulig and Tomasz Kot, who are the two main heroes of the story. It's basically about a very tough love story. It's a love story based upon the director's parents, which is, I think, very, very interesting. I always like it when creators or artists base their work on real life and actually translating real life situations into fiction, which I think is very, very interesting. And it's only like an archetype. The story of these two does not actually follow Paweł Pawlikowski's parents' life. It only features the moods and the kind of tough story that his parents went through. In the end, the film won the Palme d'Or for directing, so Paweł Pawlikowski won it, and it's a wonderful film. It's a love story based around the 50s and 60s in Poland, so a time of communism instantly after the war, because even though a lot of the media materials say it's 50s, 60s, it actually starts at the end of the World War II, I believe in 46, and it follows the two characters throughout the years. It's quite a short film, it's around 85 minutes as far as I believe, and the story is very poetic, I would say. It's not packed in the short time frame. It's very melancholic. It's very poetic, even in the way it is shot and the music. The music is a mix of folk songs blended into jazz and Parisian kind of cafe vibes. It's kind of the new wave of French cinema and French music as well. And it's a story that is very, I think it resonates a lot with me. Because of personal reasons. It resonates very much with me. It's one of the films that I cried my eyes out while watching it, and it's definitely a sign that it's very good. I used to go only to movies that made me cry because I do get emotional in certain scenes, and just overall moods make me emotional. And it's one of those films that ball like I just cried so much during this film, and I'm not ashamed of that. No, not at all. It's a wonderful film. It also is important to me because to make the story short and sweet, the film follows the love story of a pianist and a young singer, working for how to say it, working for a folk group basically, which is being used by communists to kind of propagate the idea of the working class because of communism. And it's just two different worlds as well. It's the world of the intellectual and the world of the working class, and emigration as well, and finding love, finding meaning, and fighting for what you think is the right path, even though it may not actually be the right path in the end. It's quite important for me as well because my mom used to dance for a folk group like the one pictured in this film, and the film itself is based around a folk group that actually been very, very important in Poland, called Mazowsze, which features folk songs and it's been used by communism. And it's one of the films that raises the issue as well in question, I think, on Polish identity of people emigrating, find themselves abroad, much more welcome, and just being able to work and live independently and being able to make a living for themselves, but in the end choosing Poland again, which really resonates with me personally, as well as the director as well, which is, I think, another thing about this film, that actually it follows real life and it follows fiction, and it's just wonderful because Paweł Pawlikowski is actually a Polish director who emigrated to the UK and worked there for a long time. A lot of his films, I think, is not that known in Poland compared to the UK, but only after Ida's performance in the Oscars, which won the Oscar for the non-English film, I believe in 2016 or 15, it got very loud about him because he came back from the UK to actually work in Poland, and it's his I think kind of life story as well, that you may be abroad but still choose Poland, but in the end you think about going back and just going to and fro and not being able to make a decision in the end. And just the love story as well. The love story is very brutal, I would say. I don't want to spoil this film too much because I think for me personally it's one of those experiences of seeing a film one time because it's enough. I might see it next year, but for now it's enough to see it once because as I said, it's very emotional, it's very focused on emotions and cinematic shots, the music itself, which is a blend of jazz, folk music, the Parisian vibes as well, because the film takes place in different parts of Europe as well, not only in communist Poland but also Paris, I guess old Yugoslavia, as you'd call it, or the Balkans, and I think a few different locations as well. And it's just an important film, I believe, for the culture and just understanding Poland as well, I guess, which is, I think, a good thing on one hand, on the other not really, because it's very difficult, I think, for any foreigner or anyone who's not at least to some extent brought up in Poland to understand all the nuances and all the historic talk and, for example, the constant culture clash and just constant culture talk about what is important, what is not important, what artists should do, what is the role of history, blah blah blah. I think it's one of those films that really makes you realize how much has been lost because of World War or World War One and communism as well, and it's just I think it's very important, and I think it's very important the timing of it as well, given the political landscape of not only Poland but also Europe and the world altogether, and it just features love. It's just it's very important film for me personally, especially this year, and yeah, I might talk about it more in next videos, but for now it's a very powerful story, and I think I'm able to understand it now after personal stuff that's been going for me this year. I wouldn't have understood it the way I did a year or two ago. Definitely, I'm aware of this because it requires a certain maturity, I guess, and just understanding and experience as well. It's a very good film. I really, really, really recommend it, and it's got a lot of good press in Poland. And I have to really admit that the reviews being written about it from Cannes Festival really made me want to see it as well, and just made me want to really get into the world of it. And it's one of those films that you'd like a sequel for to understand exactly what happened in it and to get a little more backstory, I guess, on me, and maybe even kind of what the ending really meant. But at the same time, it doesn't really need anything else. It doesn't need it just timed perfectly. The same way that Ida was timed as well. It really got me interested. It's shot in a very similar way. It's black and white as well. And music plays a very important role, and just emotions and the cinematography. I have to say that Paweł Pawlikowski really chooses the best cinematographers for his films, and I think he was partly responsible for it, if not entirely. And in this as well, the script was written by Paweł Pawlikowski together with Janusz Głowacki, who is a big name in Polish literature world. And it really shows that the script is very perfectly timed, and it's a lot of the small things that you're kind of, I think, expecting to happen along the way the story goes, but then it's kind of like, oh, really? Oh, okay. And it's very good. It's very good, and I think it really shows that it takes two to tango, so to speak, that you may understand each other to a certain point, but it requires dialogue. It requires so much dialogue for things to work, and that's why it resonates with me personally, because it's something that I came to the conclusion this year, especially, that to have any kind of relationship and any kind of bond with anyone, it really requires you to communicate with them clearly and talk to them and ask them questions and really make yourself available as well, and ask them to be available to you, whatever configuration you'd like to be in. So definitely recommend. And yeah, um, there's actually two other actors who are quite pronounced in this movie as well, Agata Kulesh and Boris Shitz, and they're both wonderful. There are kind of in the background, but at the same time not really, because they're quite important to the story, especially Boris Shit's character, who is a communist and is kind of the powerhouse behind the scenes of making the story go as it goes. And it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. And as I started to say, actually, the film is also important for me because my mom used to perform in a folk group, the one featured here, when she was in her teens and early 20s, and she actually traveled Europe a bit, like the characters in this film. So it was very important to me just to see what it could have looked like, and it's a topic I want to look through with her when she sees the movie, because I told her about it, and I really want to see her reaction as well, and I loved it a lot. And it reminds me as well of Shape of Water, actually, because it's a very painful, very emotional, and very different kind of love story, and kind of different story altogether. But this one is actually based on real events and real separations, I guess, of the Cold War and the Iron Curtain and West and East and everything that is in between because of that. So definitely recommend. Okay, we're nearing the 20-minute mark, which I didn't really want to go for, but okay. The other films that I wanted to showcase really briefly, because I don't want to make the videos too long per each segment. A number of these, and I might actually, make a separate video to make it easier, I guess, to make it more easy to basically digest. So thanks for watching this one, and I'm gonna make the next one about all the releases I'm currently looking forward to films. Thank you, and if you have any topics or anything you'd like me to cover, let me know. And thank you once again to all my friends who are watching this and making me more confident and actually making me believe that somebody wants to hear about my passion. Yes. So thank you, and tune in the next one about all the films that I'm currently looking forward to in June and July. Thanks.